Hello, my bookish friends. Welcome or welcome back. I'm Elizabeth. This is Reading Wryly, and today I'm going to talk to you about my 5-star predictions for the rest of the year, 2023. Most of these have not come out yet. They will be new releases for the end of the year, but some of them also, I think a couple of them at least, are already out. I just haven't read these yet, and they sound really good to me. I tried to predict these in a way that wasn't just based on the scenario or the synopsis, but that also, I have some experience with this author, and based on that experience, I feel like this could be a 5-star read for me. So if you're new to my channel, I read mostly thriller and horror. I like feminist stuff. I like things that are a little bit speculative, timey-wimey stuff. So yeah, that kind of encompasses, I suppose, my taste. The first book I want to talk to you about is the new Nat Cassidy that's coming out on Halloween. Okay, so apropos. I just read Nat Cassidy's debut book, Mary, An Awakening of Terror. I talked about it on my last wrap-up if you're interested. I fell in love with his writing style. I fell in love with his horror style. So I think I'm gonna really love Nestlings. It's also set in New York City. I have a feeling that Cassidy is a New Yorker, and I love that vibe. I actually just read the synopsis for the first time. I put this on this list without even having read the synopsis. I was just like, I loved Mary. I'm gonna love this, but it sounds so good. Okay, we're following this couple in New York City, Anna and Reed, and they need a lucky break. Now, I don't quite understand the phrasing of this next sentence. It says, the horrifically complicated birth of their first child has left Anna paralyzed, bitter, and with mobility, with her relationship with Reed, with resentment for her baby. So is she actually paralyzed, or is she paralyzed with fear and resentment? I think she might actually be paralyzed. That is terrifying if that's the case. And then they catch their lucky break. They win this housing lottery, and they get to move in to this apartment in the Deptford, one of Manhattan's most revered buildings, with beautiful vistas of Central Park and stunning architecture. Reed dismisses disturbing events and Anna's deep unease and paranoia as the price of living in New York. People are weird. New Yorkers are weird. They're odd. They're a little off. But he can't explain the needle-like bite marks on their baby. That's all it gives us. And what? What is it? What is it? This building in New York City, it's giving me Lock Every Door by Wryly Sager. Is she actually paralyzed? I'm thinking Verity. I have no idea where this is going to go, but I cannot wait to read this. It sounds so good, and I think it's going to be a 5-star read. Okay, the next book that I think is going to be a 5-star read. I've never read from this author, so I am a hair skeptical about this one, but the synopsis sounds so good. It sounds so good. I cannot wait to read this one. It's called Bridge by Lauren Beukes. This one is already out. It came out August 8th, so I'm gearing up to read this at any moment. I may read it this month. What really got me was the mention of alternate realities. If you've been with my channel for a while, you know that I am obsessed with the idea of the multiverse and alternate realities, and I think that we are all living every version of our lives in every single moment. We're just not, we are in this version. You're in the version that's watching my YouTube video right now. I'm in the version that's filming this YouTube video right now, but there's also another version where I am at the top of Mount Everest right now. This whole concept just lights my brain on fire, and I love it. It says, a grieving daughter's search for her mother becomes a journey across alternate realities in Bridge, a wildly entertaining, reality-bending new thriller from Lauren Beukes, author of Apple TV smash hit The Shining Girls. Oh. I did not know that. Have not seen that. It must be an adaptation though, right? Huh. It says, it was a game they played, the other worlds, the other lives. It was a part of her mom's grand delusions. It wasn't real, unless it was. So we're following Bridget Kittinger, and she's always been paralyzed by choices. Totally get it, Bridget, which is why I love this concept and this idea so much. It has a lot to do with growing up in the long shadow of her mother, Jo, a troubled neuroscientist. Again, ding, ding, ding. Neuroscientist, can't wait. Jo's obsession with one mythical object, the dream worm, which she believed enabled time travel to other worlds, led to their estrangement. Now suddenly Jo, the neuroscientist, is dead, and Bridget finds something in Jo's freezer that she likens to be this dream worm. This dream worm, in fact, does open up this portal to all other realities. So she is going to go on a journey through these realities to find a reality in which her mother is still alive, but there is a cost to trading places with her other versions of herself. And there's also people that are hunting down this dream worm that want to use it for their own purposes as well. It says, across 1,000 possible lives, from Portland to Haiti, from Argentina to the alligator-infested riverways of North Carolina, Bridge takes readers on a highly original thrill ride, pushing the boundaries of what we know about mothers and daughters, hunters and seekers, and who we each choose to be. And I love this title because her name is Bridget. So it's referencing her name, Bridge, but I think also this is referencing a bridge between realities, a bridge between worlds. And if this is done well, it could be a 5-star for me, 100%. The next 5-star prediction that I have for you, I'm pretty sure if you have been watching my channel, you've heard me mention this before because I won't shut up about it. And that is Rouge by Mona Awad. This one comes out September 12th. Mona Awad, if you don't know, is the author of Bunny. She also wrote All's Well, and I loved both of these stories. I love her writing. I am obsessed with her writing. Her metaphor and her simile is so original and unique, and it makes you feel like you're there. And you cannot not picture it in just the right way, at just the right angle. And so I just think she's going to do so well with this concept. The concept as well sounds incredible. This is said to be Snow White meets Eyes Wide Shut, which that alone I'm sold. We're following Belle, and she is this lonely dress shop clerk. She has this, again, estranged mother. And I have a good relationship with my mom, by the way. I love my mother. So I don't know why I'm being drawn towards these estranged mother stories, but that's just the case. She finds out that her mom died, and when she's at the funeral, this woman in red approaches her, says something to her about her mom that she didn't know, and she starts to think, I don't know who my mother was at all. Like, who is she? And she gives her this card, I think, and it's for this very elite spa. I think what happens is that Belle gets entrenched into this spa that is obsessed with beauty, and she's already really into like skincare videos and stuff like that, but I think this is just going to make her spiral down into that, and it's going to have a lot of commentary about women and beauty and our place in the world and the patriarchy and the expectations we put on ourselves. And I think it's going to be wild. I think it's going to get really out there, and probably it's going to be weird as hell, and I cannot wait for it. This is also going to be a Midnight Society book club pick, which, if you don't know, is my book club. It's a free book club that I host monthly. We read a book, we get together at the end of the month, we talk about it on a live show on this channel, and we're going to be reading this one in October, and I cannot wait. The next book that I'm really excited for is actually also going to be a Midnight Society book club pick in September. So that is coming up, and I'm really excited to read this. Now, this one is from an author that I have historically loved as well, a thriller author. Now, this synopsis, actually, it sounds like it's not giving too much. It's not giving too much away. And I'm hoping it's one of those situations where it's just so twisty that like you really can't say much about it beforehand, and you just kind of have to go into it and like sit through it. But I have trust and I have faith in Alice Feeney, and that is her new book called Good Bad Girl. This one comes out August 29th. Oh my goodness. And it is the September Midnight Society book club pick, as I mentioned. In true Alice Feeney fashion, fashion. I'm sure it's going to be super twisty. I love how she writes her twists. She always pulls one over on me. She manages to pull off her twists in a way that is believable and that is not so outlandish that I'm just like, okay, I'm here with you. I'm here for it. I like it. It gets me. It hits the spot. It says there are 3 suspects, 2 murders, and 1 victim. Okay, 20 years after a baby is stolen from a stroller, a woman is murdered in her care home. And somehow these 2 things are related, but we don't know how. We're following 80-year-old Edith, and she has been tricked into this nursing home. She doesn't want to be there, and she's trying to escape. Patience is one of the workers that works at the care home, and she makes friends with Edith. But Patience is lying to Edith about almost everything. And then something about Edith's daughter Cleo, who doesn't speak to her. They're on bad terms. Someone knocks on Cleo's door and just opens up this can of worms. And then this mystery comes to fruition that they have to come together to solve. If they do, they might just find out what happened to the baby who disappeared, the mother who lost her, and the connections that bind them. So this is actually giving me the new Wryly Sager vibes, the last one left, or the only one left, whatever it's called, with these like kind of who's connected to who's the baby, who's the mother. I really hope this is going to be a 5-star read for me as well. I love Alice Feeney, and she mixes it up. She's not one of those authors that's like, it's always the same. Like in Daisy Darker, there was more of a speculative element to that, and her writing was so beautiful, and the cozy atmosphere was incredible. In Rock, Paper, Scissors, the formatting of the book was just really interesting, and that kind of led to the framework of all of the twists within that. And she gets better and better with time. So I think this one, I have every belief in my heart that it's going to be exceptional as well. The next book that I want to talk to you about that I think is going to be a 5-star prediction is one that's been out for a while now. I think this may have been her debut. I read 2 books by this author recently and loved them both, and that is Chandler Baker's The Whisper Network. I read The Husbands by her at the beginning of this year, and then just most recently read Cutting Teeth by her, which is her newest novel, and loved them both. So I have no doubt that this is going to be great for me as well. Her novels are all set in Dallas, which is where I live, and so there's that immediate factor that I relate to, as well as it always has this like good for her vibe, this commentary, very strong social commentary about women and our place in the world. And so I have a feeling this one is going to be just like that as well. I love a book that makes me want to howl at the fucking moon. What's this about? This one is set in Dallas as well, and it says it's part page-turning thriller, part smart examination of the Me Too movement, part feminist rallying cry. Do we have to read on? I mean, that's all I need in a book. The sudden death of True Vive's CEO means their boss, Ames, will likely take over the company. Each of the women has a different relationship with Ames, who has always been surrounded by whispers about how he treats women. Those whispers have been ignored, swept under the rug, hidden away by those in charge. But the world has changed, and the women are watching this promotion differently. This time, when they find out Ames is making an inappropriate move on a colleague, they aren't willing to let it go. This time, they've decided enough is enough. Sloane and her colleagues' decision to take a stand sets in motion a catastrophic shift in the office. Lies will be uncovered, secrets will be exposed, and not everyone will survive. All of their lives as women colleagues, mothers, wives, friends, even adversaries will change dramatically as a result. If only you had listened to us, they tell us on page 1 of Chandler Baker's The Whisper Network. I mean, it's gonna be a 5-star, right? For sure. It has to be. It has to be. I also love a horror story that has social commentary about race and gentrification and racism in general. Tenanerive Due is one of those that I have so much respect for, and she has a new release this year called The Reformatory. This is actually, I think it's going to be set back in the day in the 1950s, but it's going to have a lot of rich social commentary about race, I'm sure. And I'm sure it's going to be terrifying. The Black experience is horror. One of the things that I love most about horror stories is taking real life experiences and making it into something, you know, that we would consider supernatural or ghostly or something like that, and comparing those things, because it's closer than we think. It's closer to real life than we think. And it's important to examine those similarities. Gracetown, Florida, June 1950. 12-year-old Robbie Stevens Jr. is sentenced to 6 months at the Gracetown School for Boys, a reformatory, for kicking the son of the largest landowner in the town in defense of his older sister. So begins Robbie's journey further into the terrors of the Jim Crow South, into the very real horror of the school they call the Reformatory. Okay, Robbie has a talent for seeing ghosts, or haints, but what was once a comfort to him after the loss of his mother has become a window of truth of what happens at the Reformatory. Boys forced to work to remediate their so-called crimes have gone missing, but the haints Robbie sees hint at worse things. Through his friends, Redbone and Blue, Robbie is learning not just the rules, but how to survive. Meanwhile, Gloria is rallying every family member that's his sister. She's rallying every family member in Connection in Florida to find a way to get Robbie out before it's too late. The Reformatory is a haunting work of historical fiction written as only American Book Award-winning author Tenanerive Due could, by piecing together the life of the relative her family never spoke of, and bringing his tragedy and those of so many others at the infamous Dozier School for Boys to the light in this riveting novel. This is based on someone in her family? Holy shit. Oh my goodness. Well, now I'm actually scared. I'm actually scared to read it now. Talk about fiction and reality coming very close together, and horror and reality coming very close together and creating this seam. I think it's going to be heavy. I think it's going to be haunting, and I think it's going to be excellent, and I think it's going to be a 5-star read. Those are my 5-star predictions for the end of the year, the rest of 2023, and I'll get back to you in like January, I guess, and hopefully I will have read all of these by then, and then we can re-examine whether they turned out to be 5 stars or not, and why, if they were not. Anyway, that's gonna be it for me today. Where's my water? Where's my water? I'm thirsty. She's thirsty. Here it is. Don't forget that life is short, so read Wryly. Cheers and goodbye.